and drink.
Pause. What are those lips? I need to do skincare ASAP.
This video is for my girls that want to achieve such a flawless base without having too many layers of makeup on their face. So this is a highly detailed video. So I would say you should grab your popcorn and drinks because this is going to be a long ride. First of all, I start with freshly washed face. I have not done anything to my skin. I'm gonna use my hyaluronic acid serum from The Ordinary. I used to hate this formula for the longest time, but they reformulated their hyaluronic acid serum. So now I can use it. I'm just gonna massage that into my skin. The secret to a flawless base is a perfect skincare routine. So I always make sure that my skin is properly hydrated before I proceed to do my makeup routine. I attended a Makeup by Mario masterclass some time ago, and I created a look based on the tips that he shared. And a lot of people really loved my look and wanted me to teach them how to achieve that look. So the next thing I'm going to use is another plumping booster. This is from Vichy. It's the Vichy Mineral 89. You can use either or, so you can do this or you can do the hyaluronic acid serum, but I choose to do both. Sometimes I only do this. If I'm to pick one, I'll pick this one. You guys see how I'm pumping my face with so much hydrating serum, especially under my eyes because I crease a lot under my eyes. The next step is a glowing serum. I'm using the Nude Stick Nude Glow Peptide Serum. This contains vitamin C, ferulic acid, and hyaluronic acid. I hate this pump because like it starts to splash everywhere. They should do a better job with the way the applicator comes out because like it's messy. There's something about this serum, like every time I use it, I have an instant glow. So I always add this to my glowy base routine. Here's where it becomes tricky. If I'm going for a nighttime event, I just stick to using my Charlotte Tilbury Magic Water Cream. This is my second jar and it's just beautiful. It gives you the most flawless base ever. This is how far I've gone. I love this moisturizer. You saw how little I applied and it gives you such a buttery feel on your skin. For my makeup before I head out of the house, I use two steps. I use a teeny weeny bit of the cream and I follow up with my sunscreen. So this is my sunscreen from Supergoop. I use either this one or this one. I'm gonna go in with an eye cream. I'm using my Estee Lauder Night Repair Cream. Just had that under my eyes. I had eye irritations about 2 years ago and it made me itch my eyes a lot, so I started developing fine lines under my eyes. I noticed that around that period, every time I use a concealer, it starts to set in and like define the creases under my eyes. So before I use any concealer, I always have to make sure that my under eyes are highly moisturized. For my lips, I'm using the Fresh Lip Treatment. This is the Advanced Therapy Lip Treatment. I just use that to hydrate my lip. This is what your makeup base should look like if you want glowy skin. For my girlies that have oily skin, there's an entirely different prep for that. I made a video some time ago talking about how hydrating primers are a scam. I believe that you don't necessarily need a hydrating primer if your makeup base looks like this. So babies, get a proper skincare routine and thank me later. Now let's go to makeup. Before you start your makeup routine, dry your face down. You have to make sure that your skincare dries down to avoid peeling or separation of the makeup and the skincare. I start with my Lumi Glotion from L'Oreal. I love this product so much. I'm going to put it on the high point area of my face. You have to make sure you're very realistic with your placements. When the sun hits your face, where does the light appear the most? And that is where you should put the highlighter because you don't want to be putting highlighter here where there's shadow. I only put it where you see light actually touching my face. These points, these are my highlight points. Mario is the king of layering, so for his makeup, he always layers and starts small. I'm gonna be using the It Cosmetics CC cream. I got this in PR and I actually love it so much. I can't remember the shade, but I'm gonna check it and put it up on the screen here. You need less than a pump for your entire face. So this is all I'm using for my entire face. When I see the girlies using 5 pumps, I get confused like, bruh, what are you doing? I'm gonna be working with the It Cosmetics number 7 brush. Back to what I was talking about. Mario is the king of layering. Like he would rather build on his makeup as opposed to just slapping foundation. You see my hand? You're gonna take a bit of this and pat the excess. I like to work with the back of my hands. Pat the excess and buff it out like so. So give a light, nice skin-like coverage. For the girlies that have dark circles, let me start with that. We're going to color correct first. It's better you color correct and you put lesser amount of foundation than to pack so much foundation on your face because you want to cover blemishes. So let's go back. The color corrector, I'm using the NARS. This is the NARS Creamy Color Corrector in the shade Deep. So you just need a bit. I tend to experience darkness around here. I already put some foundation here, but I'm just going to act like I didn't put it there. Make sure you buff that out. Sometimes I just like to use my fingers to tap it, like, cause it's easier. Remember, this is my makeup routine. I just learned some tips and tricks from Mario, which I'm implementing in my actual makeup routine. So don't expect that everything here is from Mario. No, it's Tissot plus Mario. Back to the skin. Pat it lightly. Spread. See how seamless the blend is here? Just look at it. I'm just gonna finish up with my entire face, like using the same technique, which is take some from here, tap it all over your hand to spread and distribute evenly, transfer, and do the same thing again. My entire face is done. Can you see that my face doesn't look like I have makeup on? Like, it's not giving foundation, it's not giving full coverage, but it's still full coverage. Like, it covers everything, but I didn't even use everything in my hand. You can see I have like a little bit left, and this is one pump of foundation. When I say one pump of foundation is enough for your skin, trust me, I mean it. One pump of foundation is enough. I didn't use up to one pump for this entire face. Also, make sure you don't put foundation under your eyes. For my under eyes, I only put concealer. So let me teach you what I learned from Mario for concealer application. You probably know it, but I didn't know it. Before I proceed, I received a package from L'Oreal, and when I opened it, it was the Infallible Brow Lamination. Okay, let me give this a try since I'm doing a makeup look today. I should have done this before I put my foundation, but oh well. So it's basically a brow gel. At least it claims to give you 24 hours lamination.
Quick update, I used this and it did last for 24 hours.
What my brows look like right now. I like to always start with the concealer that is close to my shade and build on it. So this is the Milk Makeup Future Fluid Concealer, and this is in the shade 24N. When I put my concealer, I don't do this anymore. At least I try not to. Now I put my concealer at the back of my hand and I build my concealer on my face. Using the same brush that I used before, I'm using the other end, which is the concealer part. I'm gonna take some of it, evenly distribute it on the brush, and I work from back to front. Most people you see do this. Now I do this thanks to Mario. So you put majority of the product concentration on the outer part of your eyes. You work it inside. Can you see how flawless this side looks? It doesn't look like it has too much products, but it still looks really good. So this is how I achieve a flawless under eye, by using more product on the outer part and put less inside. And the boundary of my face where the concealer and foundation meet, I go back into the leftover product of foundation on my hand and I just like mesh them together like so. I'm just layering products on my face. And I know a lot of you like that bright under eyes. I do too. So I'm gonna use a lighter concealer now to get that brightness. You see how much concealer I have left? This is still a lot, meaning you don't need too much concealer to achieve that look. I'm gonna go in with the Sephora Best Skin Ever concealer, and this is in the shade 31Y. Put that at the back of my hand. This is on the lighter side. I like to mix it with a bit of the concealer that I used initially to get this. This is the light shade. This is the mix of the first base and the light shade. I go from mid in. Notice I didn't do this. If you want brightness here, you can put some of that mixture here. And I'm gonna do the same for the second eye. Mid in. From here, I'm gonna lift it up like this over my lid to give brightness to this side. You see how this side looks and how this side looks. Put some of that here and here. In the end, you don't want to be looking like you have 50 shades lighter under your eyes. Like, it should still look realistically highlighted. Like, let it look bright, but not bright in a very unrealistic way. I'm gonna tap that on my forehead, then blend it out this side. Now I've meshed everything together. You can see my highlight points are still highlighted, but naturally and realistically highlighted. Next part is contour. Light, gentle contour. I'm going to be using the e.l.f. Halo Glow Beauty Wand, and this is in the shade Tan Deep. Same thing, put it at the back of my hand. This is a lot. You put the product here. This is what it looks like. It's not evenly distributed. Then you pat it like this to evenly distribute. Then you go to this side of your face and you gradually build on it to create shadow. Don't put it down here. Let it lift up a bit to this side and this side. Move it to your hairline. And build it under here. Gently tap. What I like to do is I also do this here to create shadow and give me more of a chiseled jawline. So see this side? Can you see how my face looks now? This is straight up in the camera. This is how much left. When I say you don't need so much, I mean it. Like, you don't need so much to achieve the perfect look. For my nose, I'm gonna do the same thing but with this brush. A little bit, just gradually lift it under your eyebrows. Like this. And when I'm pushing my product, I use very little, so it's not like harshly contoured. Just like push it forward. This is what we have, a very realistic contoured face. For the girls who want like brighter eyes, I'm gonna go back in again with the same concealer. But this time, I'm not mixing it with the base. I'm using it on its own under my eyes. Spread it. This gives you that brightness. Can you see how bright this side is? I'm gonna lift it up again here. Lift it up over your lid like so. I notice a bit of harshness, so I'm gonna go back in with the same brush I used to contour. Just take out the products on it and just gradually smooth out the line and restore balance. The way this works is you just keep going back into the brushes that you've used before. I would not say reapply products. Just use what's left over in the brush to get rid of the harshness. I had a harsh highlight line here like when I put my concealer, and I went back into the brush that I used to contour to just like blur it out and give it a more natural finish. You can't see the separation between my contour and my highlight, and you don't know where it started and you don't know where it's ending. It just looks like it's my skin. And that's the goal when it comes to this technique. Another thing I love to do is for that natural contour in my eyes, I go into my contour brush again, pat it to spread it evenly. Then I use it to stretch my eyes to give me that cat eye look. So my face in its cream base, this is everything cream. And the last part is going to be the blush. I'm so sorry this video is taking so long. I just want to make sure I teach you every single thing you want to know to achieve this look. And I don't want to skip steps because I feel like the world is getting too fast-paced. I see really fast tutorials online now and most people don't know how to follow through. So that's why I'm taking my time to create a video that most people can follow through. For my blush, I'm gonna use two blushes. This is the Say Dew blush in Dreamy. Remember the trick, always put it behind your hand. You have more control of the product if you put it behind your hand. I'm going in Beauty Blender, spread, even distribution, and tap. When you're applying your blush, apply your blush under your eyes. Put your blush here, lift it up, and put a bit of the blush here in this part. You guys know I have blush blindness, but like for this look is basically just trying to imitate your natural skin. So I'm just gonna put a bit here on my forehead, because when there's blush, color here, on your nose. Some people have color here, so that's the point. You're going to imitate where your natural color comes from. Now if you look up close, this is giving skin, and I promise you there's no filter in this video. This is actually what my face looks like in the mirror. I like to use a lot of powders to set my under eyes on a regular day. I mix and match depending on the look. If I use a neutral pressed powder, I use a warm loose powder. If I use a warm pressed powder, I use a neutral loose powder. It's basically mix and match, but for this look, I would use my pressed powder. I'm going to use these two today, and I'm going to use this to bring back warmth to my face. This is the Maybelline Fit Me powder in 330 Toffee. This is slightly lighter than my shade, so I always use this to brighten my under eyes. Then this is closer to my complexion, so I use this as a pressed powder, like to bring back neutrality to my face so I don't look overly bright. Before I set my under eyes, I always prep my sponge. I put this on here like this, I rub it, and I tap out the excess on my skin for even distribution. Go in, you blend your under eyes. You have to look up. Blend your under eyes to avoid any crease. Get rid of all the crease. Go back into the puff that you prepped and just use your finger. You notice I'm not looking down. My finger is here. Use it to prep. Gives you a blur. See that natural blur I got? We're gonna do the same thing in the other eye. Now that I set the powder, I set my under eyes, I'm gonna go in with blush. This blush is from Cheekbone. I can't remember the name of this palette, but like I'll write it down here and put the link in the description box. So I'm gonna use this shade of pink, but sometimes I find that it could be too much, so I always like put it in, then tap it out to set. Same thing. Put it under your eyes like so, and forehead. Tap and forehead on your nose. For my bronzer, I'm using this Sephora Collection bronzer, and it's in the shade Tropical Bronze. I really like this bronzer. I find that it's cheap. For the price, it does a very good job. So I'm gonna put this. This is an angled brush, by the way. Just spreading and distributing the product on the brush. And what I do is here. I don't put it here. I see a lot of people contour here. No, I put it along the point of my blush, but not like slightly below here. And I just tap into my hairline. Tap, just keep tapping gently. And here, just set all the creams. Like, I'm not meant to be using this brush, but I'm just being lazy. So you take this brush and you just use the remnant. You don't need to put more. Just use it to set contour you put here and just like gradually take it up to your brows. So I'm gonna do my brows off camera and I'll be back. I'm going back into my powder puff and my highlight powder. Just set here, and the bridge of my nose, my forehead. Just set all that in place. Because I look more neutral, I'm gonna use this powder from Huda. This is the Huda Beauty Loose Setting Powder in Kunafa, because this has more of a yellow undertone to it. So I'm gonna put a bit of it at the back of my hand. This is what it looks like. Set the inner corner. I do the same, but this time at the edge of the puff here. Spread and lift. So this is what we're working with. You know, normally people use really light powders here to contour and define their contour. What I do is I go in with my shade of powder, like maybe one shade lighter than my shade. Instead of having like a yellow hair, I have something that actually goes closer to my skin tone. This is what we have here. Okay, so I'm gonna do my brows off camera and I'll be back, and I'm gonna show you guys how I just finish up the look, because we're basically done with the prep. I'm done with my brows. I'm just gonna go back into the concealer and tap that on my eyelid. I go into the bronzer again, the same bronzer I used in the beginning. Pat the powder on your eyelid, do not rub. Then you go back into the powder that's closer to your shade and use that as your transition powder. So it's gonna be up here. Mascara is always after setting spray for me, so that's the last thing I'm gonna do. You guys are always asking what blue liner I use. I have this too. This is the MAC Color Excess. This is the Perpetual Shock Gel Eyeliner. This is Matte Cobalt Blue from Sephora Collection. I really love this too. I've tried this too. I'm gonna show you what they look like on the two different eyes, but in the end, this one always wins for me. This is Sephora Collection and this is MAC. Which side do you prefer? This one does it for me all the time. This is the Maybelline Fit Me powder in the shade 355. I'm gonna use that to mesh everything together. So this is how it works. I'm just gonna put it here. The boundary between my contour and my powder, I just like mesh it together. So here, the boundary between my eyes, where this side where my concealer is and where my contour is, I use this powder to like put everything together. The makeup doesn't look like it's on my face, but it's coming from the inside. I love this setting spray because it brings skin work back to my face. I'm gonna spray this first on my face. This takes back all that powder, so my face doesn't look like I have so much powder on it. Right down. After setting my face, I like to go back in with the powder to bring back that pop under my eyes, because I find that whenever I use a setting spray and I spray it all over my face, it tones down the powder under my eyes too, and I still want that pop. But because I don't want it too bright, I go into the two simultaneously. You look up. When you put the powder again, you can see what it looks like. This is the side of my face with just setting spray. For long-lasting makeup, I use my L'Oreal Infallible 3-second setting mist, and I'll put this on top of the Charlotte Tilbury base. I don't use too much because I find that it makes my makeup matte, and I don't want it too matte, but I still want it to last long. So I just spray like one layer on my Charlotte Tilbury. I love when my makeup has a wet look to it, like when it looks glowy. This is how I achieve that glowy wet look on my makeup. So right now my face has been set. I use this too from Nude Sticks. This is the Nudies Glow in Brown Sugar Baby, and this is the Nudies Glow in Ice Ice Baby. This is what Brown Sugar Baby looks like. And Ice Ice Baby looks like this. These are highlighters, but the way I use them, I don't like rub it here. Start with the Brown Sugar Baby. I rub it here on my hand and I put it here. I just tap. My nose. Ice Ice Baby gives me more of a wet look. So I put that here too. Ice Ice makes my face look wet, and that's what I love. I love when I do makeup but like my face isn't wet but it looks wet. So just put that around here. I learned this trick from a makeup artist, one of the makeup artists from Nude Sticks. I did a really matte makeup that day and he wanted it to look more dewy, so he did this to my makeup and I got sold that day. So now I use this during my makeup step. So even when I have a matte look, this look is matte, but you guys can see that glow. It doesn't look like I have matte makeup on. And the last thing I'm gonna use is the Nudies Matte. This is an all over face bronze color. Remember, I just use my fingers to apply all this, so it gives you more of this sun-kissed. Funny enough, the shade is sun-kissed, so it gives you a sun-kissed bronze to your skin. Nothing serious. This is what my makeup looks like. It's giving skin, baby. Giving delicious, yummy, yummy skin. Just because I'm an extra girly, I love to add fake freckles to my makeup. Fake freckles gives you a youthful look and it makes your makeup look more natural, because one would not expect to have freckles on makeup. So it's like you're wondering, is this makeup or is this her skin? And that's what I like to have. I I finally figured out how to make this exaggerized mascara work. So I have to use two mascaras. This is a tubing mascara for length and I use this one for volume. So here's how I use them. This is the combo we're working with. This is a Morphe Drip Glass in the shade Shatterproof Mauve. This is a Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil Extreme in Dimensional Dark Brown. I forgot I was gonna use this. This is the Fenty Heat in Hot Chocolate. I'm gonna use that for the lining of my lip because this is more of a brown. So guys, this is the look. What do you guys think? Bye boo!